Okay, bang, we're on. Well, welcome back, Laura. You're the actually the second person to be on twice. So you're not the first. So that's you've been beaten to it there. Evie was on like a few weeks ago, back in October, I think. So she was the first to be on twice. But welcome back. Maybe it's good for folks who haven't listened to your like first episode if you just give like a quick introduction to yourself, like what where you're from, what you're doing now, and like that kind of thing. That makes sense.
Okay, sure. Thank you for having me again, Sam. A bit mad that you asked Evie before me, but that's fine.
Yeah,
Um, no, okay. Introduction about myself. So I'm Laura. I am Brazilian. I am graduated in international relationships, and I'm currently doing my second master's at Sciences Po in international security. So now I'm living in Paris, and I think that's maybe the biggest shift from the
hmm
first time that I was here to now. But yeah, I think
hmm
that's about it.
Cool. And so last time when was the last time you did it? It must have been like 2023 or something.
Yeah, I think so.
And at that time, like you were back in Brazil, and when did you move to France? Was it was like September 2024, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So take us back to then, back to 2023, like what were you doing at the time and like how did you decide to go to Sciences Po and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. Okay. So last time we spoke, I was working for the Consulate of Luxembourg, and a lot has changed since. At that time, I already knew that I wanted to come back to Sinspo. And I say come back because, as you know, we met during an exchange semester at
Yeah.
Sinspo. And I had one specific class. It was contemporary warfare, if I'm not mistaken. And I had a Ukrainian colleague. And at the time, she spoke about the Ukrainian war before it started.
hmm
So for me, that was a moment, of course, after the war started, that I was very clear on my desire to come back. Because for me, that was an institution that was looking ahead of the times, and it was just something I wanted to be a part of. So for me, it always made perfect sense to come back. Um, yeah, I think at that time as well, I was doing my master's in international relationships in the University of São Paulo.
hmm
I concluded that master's, so I have my diploma for that. You can call
Congratulations.
me master,
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
nice, nice.
Um, and then after we talked in 2023, I got a promotion as well. So I was moved from the Consulate of Luxembourg to an European Union project. It's called the European Network for Research and Innovation Hubs and Centers. No, Centers and Hubs. So that's English for short. And I stayed there for another 4 months, if I'm not mistaken. And then I had to quit to come to Europe, to come to France to start my master's here. Yeah, it is a big change, I think, moving from Brazil to France. But I was already used to that change, or I was already prepared for it because I've done it once. So I already knew what to
hmm
expect. I feel like the biggest difference is that now I'm in Paris and not in Hans. And personally, I prefer that because I'm a city girl. I'm from São Paulo, so I'm used to the big city. I'm used to the rush and whatnot. But yeah, and I
Okay,
think
nice.
maybe another just quick update is that
hmm
in Cienspo for the master's program, we have to do an internship. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm currently in my internship semester, working in Foresight at a company here in Paris. So yeah, I
Nice.
think
And so
that's it.
when do you go back to studying? Is it like January? Like when does your
Yeah.
internship finish? Okay,
So end
nice.
of January, I go to school again.
And then after that, like how long, what happens after that? You have like until the summer left?
Yeah. So I think it's about
Wow.
around May, and then I graduate from
That's
my.
gone so fast.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy. I remember when you first arrived and I was like, oh nice, we've got so much time. You're in Europe for 2 years. And before I ask like, oh, what do you think you'll do after that? Like what's the master's in? What's the actual like title of the master's? What's it called?
It's a master's in international security.
Okay, cool. And so when you were back in Brazil and you were applying for this and when you got it, what was kind of like the plan? Was it like what did you like want to do after your masters and stuff back when you were like planning things out like oh I'm going to go to Europe, do a masters and then like what was the plan?
Yeah, okay. I love that actually because the plan changed.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's a good question to start with. Yeah, so at the time, when I finished my bachelor's, I finished with a thesis on the political participation of women in peace progress. And then I did my first master in Brazil on the same topic.
Hmm.
So for that master's, I just compare three different cases and I apply the Security Council resolutions to those cases and I just saw how that evolved over time. So the good news is that it is evolving a little bit, not
Nice.
in the speed that it should, but so that was my master's thesis on. The plan was to move here to do Cienspil, which is a very reputable institution.
Yeah,
It
it's a
is
good name.
yeah, and it's very known for preparing people for the United Nations. So the plan was to just go back to the UN, work probably at the Department of Peacekeeping Operations or something related to that in
Mm.
gender. And then the plan changed. So when I got here, I had to actually decide on two different concentrations to do my master's on. One of them is gender, so I stuck with that topic because I think it's still extremely important, especially now that we are celebrating the 25 years of the first Security Council resolution that considers women in peace process.
Mm.
So yeah, it's an extremely important theme to work on. So I stuck with that, but I also ended up picking intelligence as my second concentration. And that is a world that I got to discover during my time here at Senspo. And specifically, I saw opportunities in private intelligence. So yeah, so that's
Okay.
why I kind of
Okay.
shifted a little bit. Currently, I'm doing my internship in Foresight because that's kind of a market that I didn't see possible in Brazil or I didn't even know about. And
Yeah.
I took interest in that and I wanted to see what that is about. And I'm really enjoying my time doing that. So yeah, I'm a bit conflicted. I think those are very two different things to do.
Hmm.
I would be happy with either, and I will try to pursue both. But I think that at this time, I've noticed that it would make more sense for me to maybe stay at the private sector for a while and
Yeah.
then try to shift and have all the abilities that I've learned, all of the skills that I learned, and then apply that to the international arena. And I feel like one thing that for me is definitely true, and maybe for other people as well, is that I keep thinking, am I a sellout? Am I doing this for money? Am I giving up my dream? And I think I came to the conclusion for my own well-being that I'm not a sellout. It's just something that makes sense for me currently. It's another area that I want to explore. And I think I would actually be betraying myself if I didn't explore it.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Dude, like, so what is intelligence? Like, what kind of
Okay.
stuff is that? Like, are you kind of studying like kind of CIA type stuff? Like, what are we
Yeah.
talking about here?
Actually, okay, so in my
Tell me
private
all about it.
intelligence class, yeah, I will give a shout out to my teacher because he's incredible. So it's
Nice.
Dr. Louis Page Session. He is a teacher here. He used to work for the UK Army.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we're talking. Okay, okay,
yeah, it's
okay,
big. It's big.
dude,
So
this is so
he
crazy. So yeah, you could be like assassinating people one day. But no,
No,
carry on,
no,
carry
okay,
on.
that's not the goal. But we do talk a lot about public intelligence, which would be more this area that you're talking about. So, like CIA, MI6, assassinating people, whatever. We did get a spy to come to class and talk to us. Well,
No
former
way,
spy. Yeah, it
dude,
was
this is so crazy.
no,
So we are really talking like, I thought maybe there's a chance you might say, oh, when I say intelligence, I mean like, you know,
no, I mean intelligence.
okay, cool. That's so
Yeah.
exciting. Okay, carry on.
But then
Sorry.
the thing is, so private intelligence doesn't have the same goals as public intelligence. That needs to be very clear. And if my teacher ever
Okay.
hears this, like, I hope he's proud of what I've learned. But it's not the same goal. It's basically just to keep a company safe, keep their like their what is it called? Private, no. Well, like their get
You're
their
like, this is
sorry.
like, you're the worst
Yeah.
student ever. What the hell,
Sorry.
man? This
No, but
is terrible.
like
You're butchering it.
I forgot the name in English,
But what are
but
you talking about?
their
Like,
intellectual property, that's the name.
okay,
So to
okay.
keep their intellectual property safe, to make sure that their personnel is also safe. So, like, you would gather intelligence, so you can be open intelligence, social media, internet, whatever. You can have satellite intelligence, so you access a satellite, you see images,
Hmm.
and you can have that to keep assets and people safe. So, if there is a coup d'etat happening in a country and you have a trip scheduled to the country, then you will tell the company, hey, we have to cancel that trip, or you tell them, we can keep that trip going on. We just need to put this safety measurements in place. Or if you have someone spying um, on your property, on your assets, if they want to steal the new Chanel bag, if they want to steal the, I don't know, the big pharma
Hmm.
formula, then private intelligence is the one that deals with that.
Okay.
So
So it's
it's
kind of
not about
like,
killing people.
yeah, so it's kind of like you're kind of like the sort of CIA or MI6 for a company. Like you're their like preventative intelligence service that's keeping their stuff safe and keeping the
Yeah,
bad guys like from
yeah.
attacking their stuff.
Yeah, but then again, I feel like countries don't usually admit to this, but their goal is also to spy on others, right? And to harm other countries
Mm.
potentially. Um,
So,
but
so you do that for like on a company side.
so that's the thing, a company wouldn't have that goal
Okay, okay.
because a
Uh,
company is also not legally protected like a government would be.
mm,
So the company's goal is never to harm others, it's just to protect themselves
hmm.
in this particular area.
Okay, cool. So you think this is potentially like an area you might go down then in your early career? You might kind of specialize in
Yeah,
this
so
world.
like right now I'm doing
That's so
foresight,
cool.
which is not the same as intelligence. Foresight
Hmm.
is obviously exploring futures, possible futures for the company and just for society as a
Yeah.
whole, and how that could influence a company's business. So it's not the exact same thing, but we do have a similar approach. So you have to gather data, you have to analyze data, you have to follow mega trends and follow current affairs. So it's kind of a similar process. It's not the same goal, it's not the same speed, but yeah, I'm developing my skills in that
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm. Wow, that's so cool. Like
Yeah.
I never really saw that coming. I'm not gonna lie. I thought maybe you'd do something like I don't know. I just didn't think about like because you don't really. It's not really like a career route you hear about. Like oh, someone goes into intelligence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing you think that people kind of get picked. Like oh, it's in the metro, like someone comes up to them and offers them like a puzzle or something, and then they get picked to do it. Would you ever consider doing like the like is it something people do where they'll go and work for like the private companies and then they might go and work for like one of the intelligence agencies like the MI6.
I don't know, because again, it's very secretive. The
Yeah.
MI6 would be very secretive. So I don't think someone from the private intelligence sector would be open about being
Hmm.
recruited by MI6. I don't
Hmm.
think they would say that like
Yeah, I guess
that
you can't put it on your
clearly.
LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know about that. And that's the difference
Hmm.
that also like my teacher spoke a lot about, and I think it's very clear working on the inside as well, is that public intelligence is extremely secretive, while private intelligence, they're actually quite open. They share a lot
Okay.
between themselves. So it's very, yeah, it's a similar activities, a similar go of protecting, etc. But it's yeah, when you work on it, it's a bit different vibe, I would
Hmm.
say.
Okay. And what kind of stuff like would you be doing it and why do you like it?
Um, I think I like it because I get to work with a lot of subjects at once. I don't have to specialize in just one thing. And I
Mm.
think that's also why I started international relations, because international relations is not just one thing, it's all of the things happening all at once. So, yeah, for me, keeping that variety was important. What I'll be doing, I'm not fully sure because I haven't started my career in that.
Hmm.
Well, I gave it a start, I would say. But yeah, I think it's mostly analysis of specific countries. So in different companies, is in different ways. So you have companies that you have just one person working on international intelligence, so they would have to do everything. You have consulting firms where you would specialize in one country or one region. You have a team for one region, and you kind of have to select all of the data that you gather from open sources, human sources, satellite, whatever, sensors, and you just get all the information and you analyze the data. You see what's useful and what's not for the company you're working with.
Hmm. And the kind of aim is to detect any like threats to the
Yeah,
company.
exactly. So like we did one project during this class that was actually what made me be in the shoes of a person that works in intelligence and made me want to go there. We had a completely mocked up scenario where a oil company needed to know what was going on around the world, and I had to tackle Australia. So I was seeing all the fake assets that this company had in Australia, all of the possible threats that would happen in Australia, but then
Hmm.
threats were real, right? So those were things that were actually happening in that country at that time that
Hmm.
could potentially harm an oil company.
Hmm.
Or and then they had like energy, solar power energy. So I would have to see everything that could potentially harm that company in that specific area.
Hmm.
And that was kind of like what made me want to do this for real.
Hmm.
Because it was just so fun researching about it.
Hmm. Like researching all the different things that are going on and how it might affect the company, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I went from like piracy to like hail, like just
Mm.
rocks falling from the sky to piracy. Like all of this can
And
threat a
what kind of
company.
piracy, like on the sea?
Yeah.
Ah, cool. And what kind of stuff did you like when you were looking at the piracy threat? Like, how would you go about doing that? You like look at how many pirates there are?
No. So like again, a private company is not going to be killing the pirates or stuff like
Yeah,
that. So
no,
you just
I'm
have
not
to
saying we
find
kind of
the
drop
no.
missiles on them, but just like how would you determine the level of threat that comes from piracy?
Yeah, okay. So piracy is a bit higher than like rain, for example, I would say.
Mm.
And you just have to see how much that would affect the business. So
But like,
for
how do you know like do you start off by saying, oh, there's this much piracy going on, and
yeah,
then
like, of course, there's it's not like a fixed number. You don't say, "Oh, there's five piracy going on," because that's. But you do have a scale of the threat, and you can decide on how you
Mm.
do that scale. You can do from 1 to 10. I think that's what my group did.
Okay.
And then you see how much that is actually affecting business, and you see how much that has affect other business in the area as well. So
Hmm.
at the point, the piracy that was happening in one of the straits that the mock company was using, it was going down. So the threat was also going down.
Hmm.
And we just found ways around it. So if they're still going on, you just have to take another route. This is how much time you're going to take to get your oil to the other countries, whatever. So it's mainly about analyzing the threads, getting to know them, and then finding solutions to go around it that are
Mm.
not life-threatening. You don't kill people again. I
Yeah,
need to make it very clear for
that's
you,
good.
Sam.
That's good. That's good. That's nice. And it's kind of crazy because I imagine you wouldn't have seen like back before you went to Sciences Po, you probably didn't know this was a route that you might go down, right?
Yeah, I didn't. So before coming to Sinspo, I actually thought that only public intelligence existed. That's actually still a bit disputed.
Disputed, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. It's disputed still. I have teachers in Sinspo that say private intelligence doesn't exist. That is just a way to call threat analysis,
Hmm.
which I disagree because I took that course and I will stand by that.
Yeah, I doubt.
Yeah, but I feel like, yeah, I would only think about intelligence as the public one, double seven, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought intelligence was, and not even the part where people analyze data. I thought it was just,
Just getting out there
being a
and blowing
spy.
things up and yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And also, I feel like our intelligence system in Brazil is not that developed, or it's at least not that spoken about.
Mm.
It's called ABIN, ABIN.
That's like your like Secret Service.
Yeah, but it's not secret, okay? It's
Okay, it's just a service.
just a service, yeah. It's like the Brazilian Agency for Intelligence.
That's like, like CIA equivalent, your
Yeah,
equivalent.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
And yeah, it's not that spoken about. Like I saw a guy before doing a talk about his work there and how he stopped terrorist attacks.
Mm.
But it's not something we heard about in Brazil because we are not a big target for terrorist attacks.
Mm.
So even when they do something, one, they're not going to tell the public that they did it because that's not the goal. And two, if anything happens, like Brazil is not that on the target, I would say. It's not that much of a target.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And it's really cool that you've like discovered this thing that you like so much. And
Yeah, and it was like an accident because I had to choose two concentrations and it was between, many others. I just was like, okay, intelligence sounds nice. I've
mhm.
watched the movies with Daniel Craig, so it
Yeah,
seems like something I would be interested in.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that was an accident. And I feel like actually moving to France was actually a bit of an accident in my life as well, like a happy accident, because I was actually preparing myself and planning to move to Germany. And
Really? I didn't know this.
yeah, so because of COVID, the Germany universities, they closed their partnerships with Brazilian universities at the time that we did our exchange. And I didn't have a choice to go to Germany. So I just picked Cienspå instead and I got
Mm.
in. So yeah, and then I ended up falling in love with Sinspo and
Here you are today. It's
yeah,
back there again. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So happy accidents.
Yeah. No, it's funny how those things happen. I mean, it's similar for me. Like, I wasn't. My first choice for exchange was actually in China. I actually got it as well. It was in Peking. But like, I kind of felt like, oh, if I went there, it'd just be kind of bad because of COVID, everything would still be
Yeah.
like all locked off, and you just end up. And there were some people who I knew who'd gone to exchange in Hong Kong. I guess it was the year before, but still, like they had an awful experience. Like they had to spend like 2 weeks in this like cell quarantining to begin with, and I just thought like, oh, imagine that. Like imagine if you're in China in a kind of cell like quarantining. You can't. What are you gonna do? I mean, you can't go home.
Yeah.
It's difficult. So um, yeah, it's the same for me. Like I didn't even really know about Sion's Pro at all before I.
What?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Okay.
the weird thing about like in the UK and I guess in the US, like lots of European unis. I don't know. I mean, did you know about Sion's Pro before?
Yeah, because in the international like relations area, like it's a big name.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
Because
knew of it. But I knew of it after starting my bachelor's, not before.
okay, yeah. Because like in the UK, people don't know it. Like especially when you're an undergrad, like no one really knows any of the big names, like the big European unis, like
Hmm.
the ET. I think it's ETH Zurich and all of these other ones. But and yet, like when I read about it, I was like, how didn't I know about this uni? Like it's
Yeah.
amazing at what it does. Um, so yeah, it was an accident for me too. But so you kind of discovered that you like intelligence and stuff like this,
Hmm.
and then do you start applying for like when you were applying for internships? Did you know that this was something you wanted to do?
Yeah, I was very
Okay,
focused on
cool.
that. And I feel like one of the reasons why I needed to go to the private sector as well, is because I live in Paris and it's not easy on the wallet. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I needed to get paid for the internship, and unfortunately, a lot of international organizations they still don't pay their interns or
It's
they pay
crazy.
very badly. Yeah, it's crazy. I understand that they say that there is a budget problem going on, which I mean there is. The US did cut a lot of the aids that they were sending, but still, like for me, not paying your interns is a bit bad.
Yeah.
Personally, I could not have done it. So yeah, I even though there are a few organizations that do pay their interns, I am not fully sure about UNESCO, but I know that OECD does. They pay the interns, but I am Brazilian, so I am not from a member state, which limits also the type of jobs that I could do inside of that
Mm.
organization. Even though we are partners of the organization, so it is possible for Brazilians to work there. It's just not every single job vacancy I cannot apply. Some are specifically for member states. So that limited my choices a lot when it came to international organizations and what I could be doing regarding the UN and the system. So yeah, for me, it was pretty clear from the start that I had to do private sector
Mm.
because of that reason, because I needed to pay for rent and etc. So I already knew I wanted to do that. I just didn't know what I should do. And then when I had this class in
It kind
international
of
studies,
yeah.
yeah, I was like, okay, this is a way to do it.
Okay, super. And like, how was the whole process for you? Like, how many places did you apply to? Like, the whole thing. How was the kind of, I guess you call it the recruitment process? Like, what was the experience like?
Yeah, so excruciating. It was bad. But I feel like because it was bad to all of the people around me, I didn't feel isolated in that sense. I didn't feel like a
Mm,
failure because I saw that it was bad for everyone. I have no idea how many places I applied to. I know it was a
Mm.
lot, and I did get a few positive responses, to go do interviews and etc. But yeah, the only one that I got to offer is the one that I'm working on right now, and it's, to be honest, is one of the ones that I wanted most. There was another one that I really wanted. I didn't go far in the process at all. It
Hmm.
was to work with private intelligence at Dior. So
That would
yeah,
be cool. Yeah,
that would be a fun one.
wow.
But then I feel like for what I wanted, it makes more sense the one that I'm in right now, anyways.
Yeah.
Um,
And what do you mean by that? Like, is it like it leads to the stuff you want to do afterwards better?
no, I think it would be the opposite. Maybe Dior, the job position at Dior fits better what I want to do
Okay,
afterwards. But
okay.
for my needs right now,
Okay.
regarding the pay and the
Okay, okay,
benefits,
okay,
the
okay.
one that I'm in
Cool.
right now works better for me. And to be honest, like I don't regret at all making the choice of
Mm,
working where I am right now. Foresight is an incredible field. I really like the team that I'm with. I like, of course, the benefits, but I feel like it's more than that, Because if you just hang on to how much you're paid and just the benefits, it was a necessity for me, but if I just hang on to that, I would just be miserable in what I'm doing. And that's not the situation at all. I really enjoy what I do. I enjoy the
mm.
company. So, yeah. And then, of course, it would be nice to work for Dior as well. I'm not gonna,
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
I'm
it's
not gonna
like,
say no to that one.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I didn't get invited to the process on that one, and I understand that it was competitive. I also understand that a lot of companies here in Paris, they want someone that is fluent in French, which
Yeah, of course.
yeah, I am fluent in French, but I'm not necessarily in the same level as like working level, That is something that my boss would disagree with. We do have entire meetings in French, and I can keep up.
That's so
But
good. Because
yeah.
back in on exchange, like you were like a beginner, no?
Yeah, I was. I think during the exchange I was maybe in A2.
Yeah, so that's so cool that you've really
Yeah.
like picked it up. But I get, I mean, you're probably one of these people who can do it quite easy because I guess you're already bilingual.
Yeah, but like you were also bilingual by then, no?
Nah, I wouldn't say that. Like,
Okay.
I'm not one of these people. Like, you can obviously speak. You were having this conversation in English, and then you're from Brazil, so you can get back to your sort of mother tongue in Portuguese, nice and easy. But for me, like I can get by in French, and maybe like similar to you, but like it's still well stressful. I can't just like I
Yeah.
imagine for English for you, it's just it's at that point now where you can just hang out. You don't need to worry about it so much. So I'm not
Yeah.
not like that.
Okay, no, I see your point. And I feel like that's maybe why I didn't feel brave enough to put like, oh, I'm fluent in French
Mm, mm,
in all of my applications because I still do get stressed. I still
yeah,
do mess up, the way that I don't do in English. Like
yeah.
I'm very confident when I speak English, even though I do make mistakes. Like I don't mind my mistakes because
Hmm.
then I will correct them. Or I know that the person that I'm talking to, they understand that I'm bilingual. I know that they understand my level in English is pretty good. And I don't feel like French is the same. I still get that, oh, where's this little accent from?
Yeah, yeah,
In
yeah,
French.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not that confident yet. And then again, it's something that my boss would disagree with. He's always telling me like, you have an accent in French, I have an accent in English, so don't even care about that. So yeah, I am proud of the progress that I made, and I would say it is not my effort alone. Like, of course, yeah, I had to go after it, but I feel like being in Paris really helps.
Hmm.
Working in a place where we work in English, but people are
It's
primarily
French all over
French.
the place. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then of course, dating someone that is French and whose family speaks to me only in French and
Of
whose friends
course.
speak to
Yeah,
me only in
yeah,
French.
yeah.
That also helped out a lot.
Yeah, that probably helped a shit ton because like you really had to step up, I guess, on that front. Like
Yeah.
and everyone's speaking French. You really gotta. It really makes you want to, like get involved, and you don't want to just be sitting there quiet and stuff. And then when it's always around you, like people, where I work, it's like a mega French place, and
Yeah.
despite it being in London, and like even the little amount that well, people talk a lot in French in the office and stuff, and so
Do
like
you talk to them in French?
and I'm too shy, and not everyone knows that I can do that, so they
Yeah.
don't talk to me in French. But sometimes we have. like one or two like founder calls in French.
Hmm.
And then I'll like say hello and I speak like in French I'll say like hello and say that oh I speak a little bit of French but not so great. But
Hmm.
like don't worry about speaking English because I'll be able to follow along and it's all good.
Yeah.
But I imagine being yeah for you being like living in France, I mean when we were there helped me massively. Like my French skills improved massively in the year I was there. So I imagine for you it's been like a year and a half now, right? So
Yeah.
it's probably been like great living there, and then of course with your boyfriend and stuff, like it's just that it's like a baby. Like when you're all the languages around you. That's how like babies learn, right? They just
No, but actually, I feel
get with
like
the
such a
program.
kid because they will say different words, and I just go like, "What is that? What does that mean?"
Yeah, yeah,
Or how do you call that?
yeah,
And I feel
yeah.
like such a baby, but I don't know. It's a way to learn. And I remember you had a pretty good level of French when we were here. Like, so I did the
Mm-hmm.
first semester with you. I didn't do the second one, so I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
much you evolved. But from the start, you already had a good level. You were mo way more advanced than me, that's for sure.
Ah, I think I was only a one above you. I was only B1. What was it called? Which one's
No.
the advanced one? Yeah, so B1 is like the junior of the Bs, right?
Yeah. You were
Yeah, yeah.
B2.
No, 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 I definitely wasn't. I
Yeah.
think I just like, just seemed better than it was.
Yeah.
Because my French is like really, really ratchet because like I never really have studied the grammar so much. And
Mm,
so like I just kind of muddled the way through it. And so yeah, but it's good to speak the languages and like it's great
mm.
that you're almost acquired a third one because like that unlocks that
Third
whole.
one?
Yeah, that would be number three for you, wouldn't
Fourth
it?
one.
What else do you speak?
I had Spanish for 6 years.
Oh, you can also speak Spanish.
Yeah, and then I
That's
did
cool.
German for 4 years, but I would never say that I'm fluent in that.
Okay.
I'm not fluent in Spanish either. I just wanted to show off.
Okay, yeah, wow, look at this. We're getting to the truth here. But okay, so what like kind of level are you in Spanish and German then? Well,
I
maybe you're
think
pretty decent
Spanish,
in Spanish.
Spanish I'm intermediary, so I could handle
Okay.
a conversation because I've had before. I went to Spanish speaking countries and I could handle conversations over there.
Hmm.
German, I'm beginners, and honestly, I feel like I forgot so much already.
Mm.
But yeah, we went to Austria together, and I spoke to police
Oh
officers
yeah.
in
Oh
German.
yeah. Yeah, but we were there for like
A
God,
day.
like 12 hours. That
Yeah,
was so rough. Yeah, that was a tiring time. I don't remember much about it. I just remember kind of trying to sleep in the airport. We
yeah,
really pushed ourselves on that trip um to Istanbul as well. That was good though. I'd like to go back to Istanbul because
yeah,
um it's a super big place. I don't even really remember what we did. I remember we went to like the Hagia Sophia and we couldn't go to one of the places because it was getting like renovated or something. Or maybe we could, but
yeah. That's the place with the water. I don't remember the name. Sorry.
yeah. And have you traveled much around Europe whilst you've been here? And can
Um,
you as a Brazilian like what can and can't you do? Is it like
yeah.
a good visa and stuff?
So I haven't done much actually, and I think it's mostly because again I live in Paris, so there's like so much to do around here. I didn't really go around. I did when during the summer I went to the Alps. And then a few weeks ago, I went to Normandy. So I did
Hmm.
France. I didn't go around Europe too much. Of course, I went to visit you in London. So I did that. But I didn't travel too much. I think last time I did more because it was my first time in Europe. And I was like, I don't know when I will be
Yeah,
able to do this
100%. And
again.
everybody was doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I feel like the vibe is a bit different. I want to explore France more.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I do have time to go to other places. I
Mm.
actually like this time around, I'm very clear for me that I want to build a life in France for me, that I'm not going back
Cool.
to Brazil. Yeah. So of course, if everything goes well,
Hmm.
that's how my life is gonna go. So I'll be here for longer. I don't have to rush. And as a Brazilian, like it's actually quite hard because, of course, not European passport. I need a visa for everything that I do. Um, thank God my country has really good relationships. So for 90 days, for example, I can go to whatever country in the Schengen area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I'm a tourist, so 90 days is fine. To live, I do need a visa. So right now I'm under student visa, and then next year I'll have to request a different type of visa. So in France, it's called the recherche d'emploi, so someone that is looking for a job or an actual work visa. depending on my situation. But yeah, as someone that graduated in France, I wouldn't say I have advantages, but it's easier for me to get a visa to stay when I'm already here, when I already graduated from a master's in France, than it would have been for a Brazilian coming directly from Brazil after
Mm-mm-mm.
graduating there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100% makes sense. Um, and let's touch on that now. So what's the plan now? Like it's so cool. So you want to stay in France. So you'll be
Yeah.
around longer. Good. And what's the plan? Like, is it to just like what kind of role do you want to get when you graduate? And like, and you said you wanted to maybe go back into the UN at some point. Like, obviously this is all up in the air, and like it all depends on the universe as to whether it's going to happen or not. But like, yeah, what's the kind of ideas around the plan, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I feel like graduating first, that's the plan, right?
Yeah.
I need to get my master's. I need to finish that. And then yeah, for me, the goal would be to stay in the private sector within that area. So foresight, private intelligence, private security. So within that area where I would be collecting information, collecting data, analyzing, and making sure that the companies and the personnel is secure. So that would be the first thing
And
that
do
I
and do you have to like start looking for that full-time job again in like January?
No, I have to start looking right now. So I already
Oh,
been mapping a bit what I could
okay.
do. So yeah, the plan would be to stay at a private company
Hmm.
for a while, maybe 5 years, maybe more, but just to have more security on that as well. So have stability in my life, I would say. And then yeah, later pivot it to go back to the UN at some point in my life. There are
Hmm.
people that only work for the UN when they're like 60. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that I wouldn't mind if I have to wait longer. That's okay by me. I think what's important for me, whatever journey that I take, is that I still can add value to what I'm doing and I can still make a difference in people's lives. So in the
Hmm.
company that I'm with right now, the Foresight team is under sustainability team. So we do talk a lot about the future of sustainability and how that company can use their private money to actually make the world a better place and etc. And of course, there are people that are skeptical about it, but I feel like where I'm at right now, we do manage to do that well enough. So for me, yeah, that's the first thing. I need to add value to what I'm doing. It needs to make sense for me. It needs to make sense for other people in the sense that I'm not harming others, I'm helping the planet, etc. So yeah, whatever journey I take, I feel like that's the priority.
Hmm.
And then also I feel like something else that it's kind of weird right now where I'm at is that I had my master's in Brazil. I had a full-time job in Brazil. And then I went from that to being a student full-time
Yeah.
and then to being an intern again. So I feel like it's a bit hard for me to also tell you, like, oh, this is the plan, this is what I'm gonna follow, because the plan changed and it kind of went on a spiral as well. It's not my progress is not linear at all. So yeah, it's a bit hard to say specifically this is the plan, but
Hmm. Hmm.
I would like to stay in a private company for a while and then later on return to the United Nations or an international organization that would make sense for me.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. And like it's almost kind of a waste of time to plan super in detail because like
Yeah.
you're just not in control of the yeah, yeah, you're not in control of what happens really next. But it's good to know that you've got like a direction that you see things going in.
Yeah.
Like work in the private sector, build up that expertise in intelligence, and have that as kind of like your thing, and then like as life
Yeah.
goes on, maybe like get back into the UN down the road. It also seems like that's what a lot of people do in the UN, no? Like they
Yeah.
kind of go and become an expert somewhere and then come back, and then they're the big dog. Like they get the because I don't know whether do because someone told me this. Someone told me that's how it works. Like you go, I can't remember who told me, like, but you go and become an expert somewhere, and then it's worth going to the UN because then they like you get to sit in those te in those rooms where you have like a little a mic and like a
Yeah.
piece of paper that says your country on it, and like you get to do the big dog kind of stuff. But if you just join, I mean, is that true? Is that what a lot of
Um,
people do, or do a lot of people just work their way up anyway?
yeah, so I feel like both ways are valid, and I feel like
Mm,
yeah, both journeys would be interesting. It's just a matter of personal preferences, I would say. Yeah, at the moment, I feel like junior positions are not necessarily that valued, or again, internships are not paid. So it's kind of hard for you to work your way up if you have that need. So yeah, for some people, it makes more sense to become an expert
Mm,
first. And I think, and that's like very much my personal opinion, I think it does seems like for the UN that makes more sense as well, for them to pay for an expert instead
yeah.
of growing someone's ability and etc. So yeah, I feel like again, both are valid. It's only a matter of how much time do you have and how much energy you can put into that without being paid. And for me
Hmm.
personally, that's not an option at the moment. And again, some areas of the UN do pay. When I worked for the United Nations in the UNHCR, I was getting paid. I was getting well paid in Brazil. So yeah, there are ways that you can work your way up without being unpaid. You can do that. It's just there are so many ways to get to an international organization, and I think it's very hard for you to say, "Oh, this one is better than that one."
Hmm.
Because it's a matter of personal preference and what works for you. For me,
Hmm.
currently, I think what is going to work is if I do that. If I go
Hmm.
private for a while, become an expert in that, keep in touch with academia. So I finished my thesis in Brazil in that master's. I want to keep in touch with people from Brazil, from academia there, from academia here, to make sure that also like I can still yeah, do research as well, because that's
Hmm.
also important, right? That I can still specialize in that topic of gender. That's the topic that I specialize in my master's. That I can still work with it. So yeah, it's really a matter of personal preference, I would say.
Hmm. No, it's probably really nice for you to take that route into the private sector because you'll have some like stability and like
Yeah,
be making it like an income and stuff like that. Like after so many years of kind of like you mean it would be 2 years of being a student and that's always like kind of rough.
yeah,
And then before that, like doing sort of the like being a student and then a master's and stuff. So like it'll be nice. You'll be able to be like have some. I've definitely enjoyed like since doing the job that I do now. I've definitely enjoyed having that like more stability than I
yeah.
had before when I was kind of doing this random stuff. Um, and like being able to save money and like yeah, kind of plan trips with friends and stuff like that. Um,
Mhm.
if I think if you, it seems like if you do the kind of unpaid route, it can be like you have to
Yeah.
kind of be rich or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to have a way to finance your life during that time.
Hmm.
And I feel like on the topic of stability, for me as an immigrant in Europe, it's I really need to think about my visa as well. A lot of
Yeah,
junior
true.
positions in the UN, they don't sponsor a visa, while private companies will. So for me, that's a matter that I have to take into consideration as well. What's
Hmm.
better for my current situation as a migrant?
Hmm. No, super. That makes sense. And like, so now you're looking for like the big role that's going to come after you graduate.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Cool. And what are your kind of insights? Like, what do you think helped you get the like intern role that you're doing now? Like, do you think it's the masters that really did like a big sort of played a big role, or is there anything you did in the interviews you feel like you did particularly well? Like, what do you think worked in the previous sort of struggle?
Yeah, I think one thing that really set me apart from other candidates is the fact that I already had previous experience. I
Hmm.
had full-time jobs, I had internships before, and I feel like that definitely set me apart. Of course, the name of the university does make a difference.
Hmm.
So, especially in Paris, Sciences Po does have carry a weight, I would say, when it comes to reviewing curriculums. But yeah, if you're saying like what set me apart from other Sciences students, for example, I would say it was the fact that I had previous experience.
Hmm.
Um, which I feel like it's also a bit hard right now because it kind of feels like for you to get experience, you need to have experience already. So it's kind of
Hmm.
a, it kind of goes in a circle. Um,
Hmm.
but I would say that also set me apart a little bit while I was on the role. Recently, I had a feedback from my boss, and he was telling me that the way that I handled myself during the first day of the internship was something that he was not expecting, was something that no other intern has done before. And I told him, yeah, that is very clear because I have previous experience. I already knew what I was doing at that point. if you put someone that's never done anything in that role, they're not going to know what to do. So
Hmm.
yeah, I feel like previous experience is really what set me apart. And I feel like for everyone that wants to start in a position that they really enjoy and they're not getting there, maybe start in a position that you're not that interested in at first or that you're interested in, but it's not your final goal. And then get a work experience there and work your way up, I
Hmm.
guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so what did you do on the first day that he thought was so cool? Like, is it just that you hit the ground running and you were like, you knew what to do?
Yeah, honestly, I sent an email without asking him because I knew I had to
Okay.
get access to some stuff. And
Nice.
I sent the email, I copied him, and then he was like, "Oh wow, she sent an email without asking." Which for me, that's like basic stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know, for him, when he compared me to other interns, he was like, "Okay, this is someone that is willing to, be proactive."
Mm. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I just kind of struggle with that. So what
Yeah.
were you not kind of worried, oh, like what if I'm sending the email to the wrong person or like, oh, what if this is a bad email?
Yeah, so I think that's
Because
something else.
whenever I send an email, I'm like, oh my God, what if this goes wrong? So like
Yeah. I mean, you have to triple check, of course. But I think that's also something that kind of changed between the last time we spoke and now. So I would
just
say,
become more of an executor, more of a
yeah, like
like
something that changed from when you're about 20 to when you're about 25 is that you develop your frontal cortex and you actually are a lot more secure in what you do.
mm,
And for me, I feel like, yeah, I got that security for myself. I got that confident, but also I noticed that, if you fucked up a little bit, if it's a bit wrong, that's fine. It's not a capital crime. No one's gonna
you can have that
defenestrate you for
confidence.
it. Yeah, and not only the confidence, I know that if I make a mistake, I can just fix it. And I feel like that's something that on the first job, people are super scared of making the mistakes. But it's also sometimes, that's how you learn. You make the mistake, you correct it, and then next time you're not going to do it again. Of course, if you're every day you're making the same mistake, that's a problem. But if you do it once in a while, like it's fine, you're going to learn from it. And again, yeah, that's something that for me, I can clearly see that developed. Before I was terrified of making mistakes. I thought I needed to be perfect. And now I know that it's fine if I make them. And what happens is that I actually end up executing the things and they are correct. And that's better than being so scared that I don't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's definitely something that yeah, I kind of would shy away from things, worried that something would go wrong. But the trouble is, I think if you do that, you don't have this like iteration where you'll maybe make a mistake or two, but you get like 80% of it right, and
Yeah.
then you can just do that thing without fear, and so then you can move quicker to do something else, or like maybe you have to send some email like every week or something, and the first email you send like is like kind of really bad. Like you only get 20% of what you're supposed to do right. But then just by doing it again and again and again, like oh, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say like uh by failing, you're going to actually learn quicker than
Yeah.
if you're too afraid to fail. You just don't get the lessons, and then you're just worse at your job. Like yes, you kind of maybe there's less that you get not told off for, but like there's less mistakes that you make, but at the same time that you end up worse. So it's such a good thing to learn to do, to just like to do things, not worry about it going bad.
Yeah, I feel like you have to worry about because, yeah, if you do a huge mistake, then that's a problem. You have to be worried about what you're doing, but only to the point that, like, you care, not to the
Yeah,
point that it stops you.
yeah, it's not like paralyzing.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. No, cool, good. So it sounds like you're kind of. And will the people you work with now, will they give you like a recommendation to somewhere else, or
I
like
hope
will you,
so.
okay? But is that kind of a thing that happens in France? Like people like once you get your first thing, then like oh they might know someone and they can give you an interview or something.
Yeah, it definitely is a thing here. I think like it's kind of, globalization everywhere. I feel like it's a
Mm.
bit like this. If you get a recommendation, that's better. But I feel like specifically in the place I'm in right now, the head of sustainability already made it very clear. So again, I'm in Foresight and Foresight is under sustainability. He already made it very clear that he could give us all the interns recommendation letters.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's helping prepare us for our next job as well. So, for example, on Monday, I will have a mock interview with him.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. So I feel like that's also a reason why I'm so happy about the place I'm working. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the leadership positions, they're actually leaders. So they're actively trying to make whoever's under their
Mm,
supervision better. And in other places that I worked with before, that my friends have worked in before, and I've heard from them, some people take leadership roles without being a leader.
mm, mm, mm,
So I feel like that's very important in a workplace as well. Like I said, for me, what's important in my journey is if I add value, if I am doing good, but also if I am comfortable in the place that I'm in, and if I can see the leadership is actually composed by leaders, that
mm,
they're leading me and making me learn instead of putting me down. Because then again, with the mistake thing, if you have a superior that will always reprimand you hardly on your mistakes and not make you better from them,
mm.
then I feel like that's a very bad place to work at. And I don't think I would be comfortable there. I don't think I'll be able to grow in a place like this.
Yeah, I mean, if someone doesn't tell you what you're doing wrong, you're never gonna stop doing it. You're never gonna get better and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. And like looking back at the last time we spoke, I don't know. I'm listening to you speak and I'm like, oh, nice. It sounds like she's really like we're moving forward here. Do you ever
Yeah.
look back and think like, oh, I remember the days where I used to kind of like I don't know what I was doing next, or maybe when you were applying to Sion's Po, you were kind of maybe
Mhm.
worried like, oh, like for the masters, you were kind of worried like, oh, what if this doesn't work out and stuff. Like, does it feel like you're kind of slowly like moving forward and stuff?
Yeah, I have a frontal lobe now, so
So it
I feel
works.
like that's why. But also, yeah, again, like I've learned to deal with that sort of stuff. I am stressed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm stressed about my future. I'm stressed about my situation as an immigrant. So it's not something that doesn't stress me. It's just
Mm,
that I'm okay with the fact that, you know, I'm stressed and it will happen. And I don't know, I don't have to control everything for it to work out. I feel like
hmm
yeah, maybe that's kind of like
Yeah, and
what
it
I've
feels
learned.
like I don't know, you're getting closer to like a less stressful position where you're like
Yeah, I hope
kind
so.
of you get the visa and because I mean if everything goes to plan, once that all happens, you'll be like I don't know, not like end of the journey, but I guess this is kind of journey you go on as a student where it's like like an absolute battlefield all day long where you don't know
Yeah.
what's going to happen in the next year, you don't know who's alive, like you don't know what's going on all the time. I mean, that's at least how it felt for me. Like, oh, like where you're going to live and like
Yeah.
where you're going to work and who you're going to like everything just felt super super chaotic. So it still kind of does sometimes, but yeah, it seems like you're getting to the point where like that'd be really nice for you once it sounds like you want to stay in France, so that'll be
Mhm.
that question sorted and you'll have like a
But it's not though, because it's like, sure, what I want to
oh
do
dear.
is not necessarily what I will be able to do.
Yeah, this is all assuming things go
Yeah.
to plan.
Yeah, yeah.
Um you've got some yeah, it's not end of the journey just yet. But yeah, nice. It seems like you made some progress and stuff. It sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. And so the next step is like applying for stuff, basically.
Yeah, basically, yes. And
Okay.
then, of course, passing next semester and getting my diploma.
And when do you have to secure the next like role by? Like did they give you your school give you a deadline to get
Um,
like
no,
I guess not
so
because it's not like it's not part of the program anymore, the next thing.
no, exactly.
Right, yeah.
So there's not a deadline. Of course, I do have a date of expiration for my visa.
hmm
So maybe that's my deadline, I would guess, because then when I renew my next visa, then I will have to either have an actual work visa, so I have to have a job, or I have to get a looking for a job visa.
Yeah.
So yeah, for before I renew my visa, I have to know which of the two processes I'll be taking. So
hmm
I'll need to know if I have a job or not at that point.
And does the
So
company have to pay for your like work visa?
yes. So
Okay.
what is different about the two types of visas that again, one of them you're looking for a job and the other one the company is involved. So
hmm
you already have a job and then they basically have to explain why you are a better choice than someone else that's already in the country. And then they have to
Oh
pay.
wow.
Yeah. So that one is a bit harder to get.
Mm.
And then of course I'm simplifying the process here, but that one's a bit harder to get because it is harder to explain why me and not someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see which one of the two I will manage. But I am staying informed on the process. I know that it's changing from this year to next. So I also need to check all of that out, which is
Mm.
so hard being an immigrant, honestly. But I'm glad that I I do have Cienspo to help me out in the process, or
Mm,
even if Cienspo doesn't help me too much, I do have a community of immigrants here with me that are going to the process at the same time, so we can just all stress together.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. And then again, I don't think it's about being sure of what's going on and being calm about it or being stable, because I'm not. I am a student on a visa, but I know the process. I know what I have to do. I know when I will have to do it, and there's nothing else I can do about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so like you're looking for jobs that kind of start in the summer or like
Yeah, so my visa goes until October, so I would just have
okay.
to start before that.
Yeah, okay. Gosh, well, good luck with it. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know how it is in Paris, but in London, the job market is like sometimes a bit crazy. And
yeah,
but to be honest, I think it is a bit crazy until you've got like a good internship or like you've got the ball rolling. So hopefully it should be much easier for you this time.
yeah, I hope so. I do.
Um, but yeah, good luck with that and like all the sort of processes and stuff like that. And fingers crossed, and then hopefully across that finish line, then it'll be the good times.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, at least that's how, yeah, it seems like the promised land once you've got like a full-time job and then you can relax and things are a bit easier. Cool. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Again, we didn't get time to talk about all the stuff. Would have been great to talk about living in Paris and all that kind of stuff, but we'll have you on again. Maybe you'll be the first person to come on 3 times.
yeah. When
That would
we
be cool.
turn 30, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on. It's been like really cool to like hear about. It's been like super career focused, I guess, this one, but it's been super cool to hear about like what you're doing and like the sort of new world you're going into in the sort of intelligence space. So yeah, thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No worries.